What's going on? What's going on? We're going to talk about Spence Ennis today. Um, I guess, what's that kid's guy's name? I think Gilly the Kid. He was on, he had Ennis at, I guess, at his house. And they were FaceTiming Earl Spence. So they going back and forth, and Earl Spence talking about, little puppies shouldn't be, talking junk to to the big dogs. And it's talking about how, that's what he's supposed to say, just going back and forth, nothing crazy, just in good fun, no disrespect or anything to either party. And, it's getting people talking a little bit, about these two fighting. People believe that these are two of the best fighters in the welterweight division. And this is coming up. He's young, but he's proving, fight after fight, that he does have the skill and he does have the talent to contend against the top guys. Whether you win or not, that's a different story. My thought process has always been when it comes to these young dudes, I'm just going to enjoy their career, watch them progress, and I'll give them their roses as they earn them. you know, and that's what I basically do. Um, but I know because of that, people are just wondering, could Ennis end up into a situation where he basically kind of gets blackballed out of the division? Um, People are saying that hey, Earl Spence might move up to 154 pounds, and then after he moves up to 154 pounds, because let's say something like a top rank, they got Terrence Crawford, they have uh, Taylor, they have Ramirez, who are going to be moving up to 147 pounds as well. That they might somehow be able to gobble up everything, or they might find a way to get Terrence Crawford all the belts, and then Ennis kind of gets, you know, taken out of the equation where they keep him from getting those belts. So could a situation like that happens? Well, as far as Earl Spence, I don't believe Earl Spence is going to be moving up to 154 pounds anytime soon. Makes no sense. Charlo's going to have all four belts. What are you moving up to 154 to fight who? To fight what? It makes zero sense, especially now. Maybe in a couple of years, 2 years or something like that. Then yes, and he is capable of staying at 147 pounds. It's just all about being focused and disciplined, just like Sean Porter is. As long as you're on point with your nutrition and you're focused and you're not, overeating, and getting your weight too damn high like he was doing before, and staying away from that bottle, then and other vices, then you should be fine. You're living a fighter's life. He should be able to stay at 147 pounds for years. And he has a lot of fights. You have Ellis there. You have Ortiz Jr. there. You have Ennis there. You have what is their names? Sean Porter rematch. And Keith Thurman's one fight away from being able to fight him. That's a lot of fights. That's a lot of pay-per-views, a lot of big gates, a lot of money in that division. So I don't see him, moving up. So I do believe that we'll probably see these two guys go up against each other, and face each other. But let's say hypothetically he did move up to 147 pounds. To 154 pounds. Could Ennis get blackballed? And I'm going to say to that, no. Who you're with has a big part of if that happens to you or not. Who you're connected with, who you're working with. And he's with the right people. I know some people had made comments, oh, his last fight, he did a Showtime card by himself, and it didn't involve Al Heyman, blah, 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 blah. That was actually incorrect because it was a PBC Showtime card. That was a PBC date. And everybody that was on the card were all PBC fighters. And it was a PBC event. So they're working hand in hand with PBC. The relationship he has with PBC is kind of the same as Luis Ortiz, who is signed to a promoter, and the promoter has say in what goes on. But they still work hand in hand with PBC on a regular basis. And Al Heyman, Adonis Stevenson. Yes, he was signed to Al Heyman, but he was signed to a promoter. So the decisions that the promoter had a big say in everything that happened with Adonis Stevenson as well. Benavidez, same type of situation. He's signed to a promoter. So which actually is effing him up big time with the bread, like effing him hardcore. But so that promoter has a lot of say in what happens, even though he's quote fighting on PBC on a regular basis. But they do have their relationship with Al Heyman, and they are doing pretty much the fights on PBC. So he's connected with the right people. Showtime is going to continue to push him, and PBC is going to make sure that he's good. He's going to get the fights, and if those belts were to scatter, he will get a title at one of those belts right away. There's this thing where somehow, Terrence Crawford is not, there's not going to be this fight where, okay, all the belts are on the line and Crawford gets to fight for all of them, or the belts just remain vacant and, Crawford's able to pick them up one by one. I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe he's with the right people where, the IBF, we know they don't play. You know what I'm saying? And when you move up in those rankings, when it's your time, it's your time. So they can set him up something with that. We know PBC has a great relationship with the WBA. So the reality is, out of those, he probably ends up getting the WBA. The WBC, Suleiman, yeah, we know they're just efferys with that. So I could 100% see Terrence Crawford or one of the maybe Ramirez Taylor winner getting that belt right away. 100% could see that happening. But they're not getting all those belts. They might get one, they might get two, but Ennis would definitely get one of those belts. They might even be able to put him into a position where he can become unified, and he's in the space where at the end of the day he still has all the welterweights to fight. He still has all the names to fight. They're all still at 147 pounds. He still has that Showtime. He has that Fox where they'll be able to push. Well, he's just strictly on Showtime right now, so they're gonna be able to push him the right way. So just because of who he's with, they'll be able to keep him from being caught up in that situation. Earl Spence could have easily been caught up in that situation. And the WBC actually was kind of doing that. They weren't, putting him into the space to get that title shot again, for that WBC belt. So they were able to move him into the IBF route, and they eventually got that title shot, and they got that belt, regardless of what Eddie Hearn wanted to do. Didn't matter that Kell Brook was really popular. Didn't matter that Eddie Hearn had that relationship with them, and they kept doing, kept having the Errol Spence fight, one more fight, eliminator after eliminator after eliminator after eliminator. It got to the point where they couldn't deny him anymore, and it's all because he was with the right people. Deontay Wilder, same thing. They could have did the same thing to him, but because of who he was with, they were still able to get him fights. They were still able to keep him relevant. They still got him that WBC shot, and they put him to catapult him to the space where he's at right now, because he was with the right people, he was with the right people. So I think Ennis has made the correct decision, or his handlers, his promoters, with who to work with, and they're intelligent and smart enough to understand that most of the fights that, could really catapult him and bring him to where he needs to be are over there, with the PBC, and having someone like Showtime, backing you, who they'll actually promote him, they'll actually show him some real love, they'll put the different programmings that's gonna show him. They got him headlining fights, even on the PBC card. They have him headlining that card. They didn't have to do that, but so clearly they're working in conjoinment with each other. So as far as that, that thought process that this might happen to him, I'm gonna have to say no. Absolutely not. They're not gonna be able to keep this kid from shining and getting to where he needs to be. And unfortunately for Crawford, for him not wanting to fight all these other fighters, and Bob Arum believing that, hey, we can wait them out and then we can have Crawford pretty much dominate the division and become the king of the division. One guy would have been leaving, but then this other monster's just going to come right in, where people are going to be saying, you ain't ish unless you fight that boy. And if he keeps fighting spectacular the way that he has, if he keeps on progressing and doing the things that he's been doing, you'll be fine. And you'll have this opportunity to be on top of the game, definitely on top of the division. And nothing's going to be able to stop him because he's smart enough to get with the right people. But we'll see how what happens with his career, where he goes from now. I'm not sure who he's fighting next, but he's doing what he needs to do as of now. So we'll see. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.